Here's how to play Cloak and Dagger so you can climb in your Marvel Rival games. Dagger's primary fire is a heal that offers splash damage to heal the other teammates within that 8-meter radius. This is super useful to keep your group of allies alive during this time, and you can kind of bounce back and forth on who's the lowest to get the healing, and then the other person can get the splash healing. Also, you might notice this little green reticle that's popping up every time I heal him. That's because I have healing reticle feedback on. This is done by going into your settings, going to keyboard or controller, clicking on the specific healer that you would like to use or strategist. In this case, I'm doing Cloak and Dagger. You scroll down to hero, and then it will say healing reticle feedback. Turn that on. This will now pretty much confirm every time your throws are in fact healing a teammate. You can also still hit enemies while as Dagger. It only does 15 damage, so I would primarily use it to help out your DPS that are struggling with taking out a flying character similar to like Storm or Iron Man. Now as for Cloak, to turn into him, you would have to push your shifts button. Unlike Dagger, Cloak is much more DPS heavy, and when you hold left click, you do a constant tick damage that is total of 75 per second. Also, just like Dagger, you don't really have to be good at aiming. You kind of just put it in their general direction and it does the aiming for you. Now back to Dagger. Her right click provides healing, doing 55 HP per second in a like 8-meter sphere bubble. It lasts for 6 seconds and is supposed to have a 12-second cooldown, but the cooldown kind of just starts as the sphere is still there, so it's more like a 6 or 7-second cooldown. A good tip I can give you guys is when you're taking damage from the enemy, you can actually throw the healing at your feet, turn into Cloak, and start doing damage to them. So it's nice having a support character that can actually take care of themselves in some regard. As for Cloak's right click, he gives his team invisibility for 2 seconds, making it where they do not take any damage while in that. Also, as a side note, when you activate this, you can fly upwards, so if you need to get into a better position to get away from the enemies, you totally can. Back to Dagger, her E creates a light force that instantly heals your teammates up by 45 HP. It also gives a 15% increase to your heals, so anytime you have to do a huge burst amount of healing, that's the ability you want to use. Now as for Cloak, his projectile is pretty much the same, except it blinds them for 1.5 seconds and makes them vulnerable during that time, so they take 20% extra damage. This lasts for 3 seconds, so anytime you can actually use this ability, I definitely would. And finally, for their ultimate, Eternal Bond, this creates a dash that allows you to go up to 4 times. Each dash lasts 10 seconds, heals your teammate for 220 per second, and deals 30 damage per second to the enemies. Something to look out for during that is, as you can see, you pause during this ultimate. So when you pause during the end of that dash, that actually makes you extremely vulnerable for a Magneto ult. And when a Magneto ults and sees you stop, he can actually throw his ult at you during the end of your dash. That'll instantly pop you and take away that entire ult that you just did for your team. But make sure to follow if you're new here, as I upload every single day different tips and tricks you can use to climb in your Marvel Rival games.